Hello, Coyote Cubs. It's your old pal, Blue Coyote here. After recording this week's episode of Hijinks and Sue's Wrestling Podcast, my co-host, Bobby E., and I learned of the passing of WWE legend and Hall of Famer, Rocky Johnson. HEWP wishes to convey our condolences to Soulman's family and friends, and it is our hope that he rests in peace in the squared circle in the sky. But as they say, the show must go on. Welcome back to the Hijinks and Sue's Wrestling Podcast. I'm Blue Coyote, and as always, I'm joined by my tag team partner for life, Bobby E.
What's up, folks?
How you doing, Bobby?
I'm doing well, Mr. Coyote.
Good. Couple things of note that has come up within the past week. The podcast is now available in most platforms, including Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and as always, we will upload a video to YouTube. So keep liking, subscribing, anywhere you're listening to podcasts. If you can't find us, then A, you're not listening to us, and B, tell them you want to listen to us.
Or else.
Bobby E is going to send you pictures of his feet.
That's a given, sir.
Speaking of which, we can be found on Twitter and Instagram at Hijinks and Sue's. I'm not spelling it. Quit looking at me.
You even wrote it down.
At HIJINKSENSUES.
Have y'all noticed, folks? He does all the work.
I don't do all the work.
I've done nothing.
Don't lie, because we're going to talk about this past week in wrestling, and you surprised me with some things. So we're going to do this past week in wrestling, and then we're going to move on to our topic. Just so we're clear, make sure to follow us, like us, Instagram, Twitter. You can even leave a comment on YouTube. Just whenever you get the topic, leave hashtag Mount Rushmore and then whatever the topic is, and let us know what your choices are.
That sounds good, dude.
Okay, well, it's a plan, and we did get a couple this week, and we'll cover those. So we're looking for some interaction with the Coyote Cubs and the Bobby Maniacs, okay? So you got to let us know what you're thinking. Yeah, I made it Bobby E Maniacs because, you know, his dislike of Hulk Hogan.
That'll work.
Well, feedback has been good on the couple shows that have dropped. Let's see. A couple notes. One, my mom wishes we would quit cussing.
Shit.
Fuck that. I've been told that we're funny.
Oh, tits.
Yeah. Let's see. Anything else? Am I leaving? Oh, yeah. Muppet Babies.
Muppet Babies.
So speaking of Muppet Babies, you got any challenges you want to issue this week? We already got Brock Lesnar on deck.
I'm good. I've only had one White Claw so far, so...
We are not induced by White Claw, but that is Bobby E's drink of choice. I have the Miller Lite myself. If either one of those companies wants to endorse us, hey, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Hijinks and Sue's. All right, so let's take a look. This past week in wrestling, what do you got?
I heard that one of the Hardys is going to be moving to SmackDown.
Do you remember which one this week?
I'm going to say it's Matt.
Okay.
That's the dark-haired one.
Yes, Matt's the dark-haired one.
Nailed it.
Finally.
Why
is it going for a reason?
You know, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not going to read that much, man.
Okay.
Becky Lynch?
Oh.
Yeah.
What about her?
I know she's a favorite.
Yeah, she's one of my favorites.
She has not signed a new contract.
Really?
Really.
Interesting.
As of yet. I mean, I'm sure she will.
She's probably, well, I mean...
Holding out for that money.
Holding out for that money. Okay.
Yeah, I did finally see her in a match. You loaned me some material to watch. And
Don't say it like that. You say I loaned you material, people are thinking I got Becky Lynch spank mags or something.
Well, that. Oh, we're talking about. Oh, no, okay. That was the other stuff you sent me. No, I did finally see her in a match with that Charlotte chick.
Ric Flair's daughter?
Yes, don't care for her.
Really?
No, I do not. She's a cheater, just like her dad.
Okay.
Who also cheated in the match. Go
Really?
figure. Imagine that. Ric Flair's still Ric Flairing.
Styling and profiling?
Yeah, gross.
Hey, he might be the oldest ride in the park, but he still has the longest line.
I've used that in so many other ways. Okay, the other chick that was in there. I'm sorry, I need to stop saying chick. Legit boss.
Sasha Banks?
Yes. She was brought out by Snoop Dogg.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that.
That's her cousin.
Yeah, yeah. And she was dressed in like Eddie Guerrero-esque styled
yes
uniform or whatever.
I know which match you're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah.
tits.
Okay. Let's see what I've got. Marty Scurll.
Don't know him.
Yeah, I knew you wouldn't.
No, okay.
He was part of the Bullet Club, Villain Club in New Japan and also Ring of Honor. So big news was that he had let his contract lapse, and then he showed up over at NWA and I think took a booking with MLW. I could be wrong. But I thought, okay, he's going to go to NWA or at the very least AEW because of a lot of his friends are there. But he ended up re-signing with Ring of Honor, and I guess part of his new contract is that he's part of the booking committee. Like, he's helping to book matches and do storylines and stuff. So, if things go according to history, Marty Scurll will probably be the new Ring of Honor champion pretty soon. He's going to book himself the title.
All right.
Tessa Blanchard. Now, yes, I like Becky Lynch, but I love Tessa Blanchard. I've named my dog Tessa. She had her match finally at Impact's Hard to Kill. And if you don't know, spoiler alert, she won the Impact heavyweight title.
Nice. Don't know who she is, but...
And coincidentally, the same day or weekend that was going to happen, I think a lot of people saw that was going to happen, that she was going to beat Sami Callihan. All of a sudden on Twitter, all these female wrestlers kind of came out of the woodwork and said that she was racist and that she was a bully. I know every interview I've ever seen or heard, she seems like a sweetheart. So I don't know, that could just be her false face. She could be racist or a bully. I don't know. In this business, we've heard that a lot about different wrestlers over the years, and it seems like now they're going to look back and they're going to say that these are the people that did this. It's been... Where was I? So, with Hogan was one. Now, there is a recording that he did say the N-word, but as far as his creative control or Kevin Nash's creative control or any of these other people, like I was talking about, Marty Scurll's now taking over booking, there has always been this, I was bullied, they played all these mean practical jokes on me. So I don't know, I wasn't there, I don't know Miss Blanchard personally, but I just find it coincidental that she wins the title and she's the first woman to hold the men's title, and all of a sudden this stuff comes out about her.
Interesting. Wait, she holds a men's title?
Yeah, it's the Impact World Heavyweight title.
Okay.
Traditionally a men's belt. It's not the Knockouts title. It's the men's title.
Okay. I got a little bit of catching up to do.
Yep.
Cool.
You got any other news? I know you said something about Hogan. We were talking on the car.
Yeah, there was. It's just rumor, internet rumor. But he's like in the gym. He's getting all buff, saying he feels better than he's felt in a long time. And I'm getting this from Google, folks, and you know how I feel about Google.
Google knows everything.
Google does not know everything.
Google is linked to Skynet. I bet that Hogan is now a Terminator, and he's got a metal endoskeleton. He's going to rock a match.
Okay. fine.
I know that he is gearing up to go into the Hall of Fame. I think we mentioned that a couple weeks ago. So the NWO is going in, and as a founding member, he's going into the Hall of Fame. Not Eric Bischoff, surprisingly, still upset about it. But I think that because of WrestleMania weekend, it's just like bands. Whenever certain bands get to a certain age and then they're going to go on tour, I've seen a lot of videos online of them working out. It's just kind of, I guess, to have better cardio and energy. I don't know.
I don't know. A lot of rumors.
Something that is not a rumor, and Bobby E and I here at Hijinks Ensues would like to give our condolences to the family of La Parka. Bobby E doesn't remember who he is, but I do. As a child, watching La Parka on WCW, he was one of the luchadors. He dressed like a skeleton, had a chair. I think he was the original chairman of the board. He came out with a chair and would play it like an air guitar. But a couple months ago, he dove through the ropes and hit his head on the guardrail, suffered really bad injury, was rushed to emergency surgery. They took care of that, but he was paralyzed. He ended up having to need help breathing, and he went into kidney failure, and his organs started to shut down, so he passed away this past Saturday. He wrestled not only for WCW, but also AAA in Mexico.
R.I.P., dude.
That's all I have for this past week. I've been busy. I didn't get to watch a lot of shows. I went out of town, so stay tuned. There is a bonus episode I recorded while I was on the road. I have a feeling this is why Bobby E knows as much about wrestling as he does this week, because I told him that I had to have a guest co-host do this show, and he feels like I stepped out on him and I cheated. So he's trying to win my love back.
Nope.
Okay, so do you remember what our topic was?
Yes.
What was it?
Occupational wrestling gimmicks.
The 80s, 90s WWF. What does that mean?
That means I made a list.
Okay. Occupational gimmicks, job-related gimmicks.
Yeah.
So, now, while it is a job, I'm surprised it didn't show up on either of our lists. And I think because it was more sports-related. Are you familiar with the Goon?
No.
Hockey-related gimmick.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Never heard of it, but I am going to read about it.
Okay. You should throw that onto your search bar. Look that up.
I shall.
Okay.
Wasn't that a terrible movie?
The Goon?
Yeah. With,
I didn't see it. I don't watch bad movies, so I haven't seen it.
Alright.
Speaking of movies, I have already watched Big Trouble in Little China once this year. That is my favorite movie, and I've gotten that out of the way. I'm sure I'll watch it several more times.
Tits.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay.
So we've got occupational wrestlers. We asked the audience to send us their picks. A longtime listener, James Henson, and other longtime listener, Zach. What?
Nothing, man. Go ahead.
They're our longtime listeners.
Okay. They probably listened longer than I have.
I just want to say this. Both of the lists that they sent in, we covered 6 out of 8 of the picks. James had Rick Martel. His job-related gimmick at one time was he was a model. He was a male model.
Yeah.
I would rather put the Goon up there. Now, Rick Martel is great. His in-ring work was great. His promos were great, but just a male model, I don't know. And then Zach had the Repo Man. Which you had mentioned before.
Yeah.
But
Barry something or another.
Barry Darsow used to be in Demolition. Good friend of Arn Anderson.
And me.
And Bobby E, apparently. Dude, give me his autograph. Okay, so...
It's right here.
So, Bobby, take it away. Who's your first one?
I had to go with IRS.
Erwin R. Shyster.
Yep.
The evil IRS man.
Loved him.
Collecting taxes.
Hitting people with the briefcase.
His gimmick before that was when he was in WCW was as he had like an amateur wrestling gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Wore like the singlet. He was part of the varsity club, and he had like a Letterman's jacket.
Oh, gross.
But I think most people will remember him as IRS. Now, on the DVD you borrowed, did you see anything with Bray Wyatt? Do you remember?
No.
Bo Dallas?
No.
Well, those are his kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Bray Wyatt originally came out as Husky Harris, and then he went into Bray Wyatt, and now he's Bray Wyatt and also The Fiend. When he's The Fiend, it's like his alter ego, and he has like a face that's been cut off and molded into a mask. It's out there.
I'd probably like that.
You probably would. So the IRS, aside from his singles career, he was also with the $1 Million Man. I don't know why a millionaire would want an IRS agent.
I would.
Well, unless he's taking your money.
He's saving you money.
Okay.
He was just as crooked as Ted DiBiase.
Yeah. Everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
Yeah, I got something for the $1 Million Man.
So my first pick was Spark E Plug.
No idea, dude.
Spark E Plug.
Never heard of
Like
it.
a spark plug.
Yeah, I know what the play on word is.
I
don't know the dude.
It was a race car gimmick. He was a race car driver. He had a long brown mullet and a fire suit. I bet that thing was like hot to wrestle in.
I can imagine. Those things are snug.
He went on to become Hardcore Holly.
Oh, I do know who that is.
Yeah.
Didn't like him.
You don't like Hardcore Holly?
Nah.
He had the Alabama Slammer.
Yeah. He had my utmost disapproval as a human being.
You know you popped when you saw him in those little shorts.
Oh, good Lord, man. I've only had one drink. Come on. Ugh.
My list kind of goes in a building order. So I'm like building to like save the best for last. So thinking of all the different gimmicks, Sparky Plug just kind of came to mind. Like, it was, race car driver's kind of a job.
Dude, when you first gave me this Mount Rushmore idea, what? I didn't know who to pick. The only one I thought of was Big Boss Man.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it. I got some good ones.
Yeah, there's some other jobs out there. I will say this. I was talking to one of our listeners, and they were trying to come up with a list, and of course I had already received some list, and I had my list, and he would mention someone. I say, well, that's not a job, or that's not a job, and then he was like, the junkyard dog. Yeah. Folks, JYD is not an actual junkyard dog. He's not hanging out in the junkyard.
It's a job.
It is, but it's not his job.
So you're gonna hate my list then.
Okay. Well, who you got? Who's next?
I went with Doink the Clown. Clown's a job.
Clown.
It's a job.
Yes, people do make money as a clown, but it's not like...
Ergo, job.
It's not like he was a guy who was going to work as a clown. He was just an evil clown.
Who went to work and got paid by the WWF at the time?
Yeah. Do you know how many doinks there were?
No.
Several.
Did he ever wrestle with ICP?
I don't know.
I remember them being in wrestling because Eminem always made fun of them.
Yeah, they've got their own wrestling that they do, and I don't know if it's still around, but they were on WCW for a little while. They would come out with Vampiro. If he did, if you don't know, the original Doink the Clown was Matt Bourne. He started out in NWA. He tagged with Arn Anderson. So he's the first Doink, and then WWF, I guess, just thought, well, we're going to let him go, but we still have the gimmick, and so we can put it on other people. So the Brooklyn Brawler has been a Doink. I want to say Chris Jericho was a Doink. There's just been a couple. Now Doink, I love Doink. I love his theme music. I really loved whenever he had the little wrestlers with him. It was like, I remember Dink mainly but he had a match with Jerry Lawler, and there was 3 little people painted up like. Why are you looking at me? Because you thought I was going to say midget?
Oh no! You got to edit yourself now. Muppet Babies.
No, actually, yes. If I'm talking about someone with that condition, their everyday life, I'll call them little person. But wrestlers prefer midget. There was a show called Half Pint Brawlers. It was a reality show, and it was all midget wrestlers, and they would get mad if you did not call them midget. So I could be wrong, but I've also heard on another podcast, Mr. Tony Schiavone kept saying midget. So
he said it, not me, folks. All your hate mail goes to him.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go with clown as a job.
It is a job.
Okay.
I like it when he would pop up out of the crowd and just
Yeah.
run into the rink and do stuff.
I liked that his theme music was like circus, but then it got really evil.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool. Okay, so my next pick was Isaac Yankem.
Oh, he's one of my favorites.
If you're going with evil clown, I'm going with evil dentist.
Oh, that's the dude you were telling me about. All right.
But the if you can see the theme here, we've got Spark E Plug, race car driver. Isaac Yankem, because he's a dentist.
Yeah, I got it, man.
I'm just saying.
Okay, he's just saying, folks.
Do you know what Isaac Yankem's doing now?
No.
He is the mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee.
Legit?
Legit. He's the shoot mayor.
Interesting.
Glenn Jacobs is his name, but most people will know him as Kane.
Man, now you're just messing with me.
No, it's Kane.
What?
Yeah. Isaac Yankem was like his first gimmick, and then he was fake Diesel after Kevin Nash went to WCW, and then they brought him back as Kane under the mask.
All right. Well,
you like him now, huh?
No, you hurt my heart with that one.
Really?
Yep.
Like a missile to the heart?
Yep. Straight through the butt. That was a hell of a pull, man. All right, I give it to you.
My favorite part is that I told you this like a couple days ago.
Ah, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, who you got next? You got it?
Are we back on?
Yeah, give me your pick.
Oh, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. You're gonna give me this one. Dude had 2 jobs.
He did. He was a barber.
And?
Before that, he was a male dancer.
A beefcake. I just like saying that word.
2 jobs. 2 jobs. If I was him, I would say that all the time. I'm Brutus. 2 jobs.
I would never say that.
Hey, there's a lot of people out there that don't even have 1 job, and this man's got 2. He's shaking his butt and cutting your hair at the same time.
That is disturbing.
He also had his own talk show, The Barbershop, on WWF, where a couple segments happened, but most famously probably was whenever Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty broke up. And Shawn Michaels put Marty through...
They were dating?
The pane glass window. No, they weren't dating.
Oh, okay.
In wrestling,
there's nothing wrong with that.
In wrestling, whenever you work a program with a guy, or he's your tag team partner, then you're considered married. So Shawn and Marty got divorced at a barbershop.
With a beefcake.
With a beefcake.
Oh.
Brutus Beefcake, probably most famously known as the friend of Hulk Hogan. Everywhere Hogan went, Brutus showed up, whether it was as his brother, they had the last name Boulder, and then he was Brutus Beefcake, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and then he was in WCW as the Disciple. It's pretty cool. He was like a biker, like had a vest and longer hair, and he was wearing your headband. He was a biker before Undertaker was.
All right, all right.
That's how cool that was.
He scared me.
Brutus Beefcake scared you?
Yeah.
Was it because he cut hair with
Yes.
those giant garden shears?
Yes.
Three jobs. Brutus 3 jobs. He was a gardener.
He never gardened.
I don't know if that's a...
Oh, I called him last night. He never gardened.
Okay.
He had a gardener.
What if he was, manscaping?
This podcast is over.
Could you imagine him manscaping
No!
with the giant shears?
I'd rather him cut my hair.
Okay, so my next pick, going with the name gimmick still,
Okay.
and it's going to be a big surprise because it was 80s and 90s. Can you guess it? It was in the 90s. Road Dogg Jesse James.
I liked them. Who was his partner?
Badass Billy Gunn.
Yeah. I liked him.
The New Age Outlaws.
I liked them.
And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. Suck it. But before that, he was the roadie dog. He was like a roadie, like like musician.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And the musician that he was a road agent for, Jeff Jarrett, country singer. Jeff Jarrett almost made the list as country singer, but I was like, no. Because Road Dogg was putting the work in on that.
I know who you're talking about. I didn't like him.
Double J?
Yeah. I didn't like him.
Okay.
I liked Road Dogg. I bet you're surprised about that.
Yeah, whenever I was thinking about gimmicks, I was like, well, that's a job.
But clown's not.
He was a roadie.
But clown is not a job.
You have argued that clown is a job.
Okay.
Look, there's 2 clowns running this podcast right now. And it is work.
There you go.
Okay. But Road Dogg started off, yes. Now, Vince has always said that he will give people the opportunity. We saw that. We talked about Stone Cold before as the ringmaster. That was his opportunity.
Right.
He is the one who created that Stone Cold. He took that opportunity, ran with it. Road Dogg took that opportunity. He went on to do great things. Tag team champion. He went on to TNA and was pretty big over there. And then has come back to the company and behind the scenes, he's done all kinds of stuff. And the man can still talk on the mic.
All right.
And he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, nice.
Which...
I got to look at this Hall of Fame thing.
IRS is not in the Hall of Fame.
That doesn't surprise me.
Doink the Clown is not in the Hall of Fame.
Well, he should be.
Brutus Beefcake.
He has to be. He was on the cartoon.
Actually, I think he is. I'll look again. I think it was a couple years ago. They had one of the Hall of Fames a couple years ago, and there wasn't a whole bunch of names. Big names. Kane is not in the Hall of Fame.
Well,
Hardcore
no.
Holly isn't in the Hall of Fame. So Road Dogg's doing pretty good. Now, our last 2 are in the Hall of Fame.
Ah.
So take it away. Who's your last pick?
I got Sergeant Slaughter.
Sergeant Slaughter.
He was in G.I. Joe.
That's not a job. That's a cartoon.
I was not talking about a job. He's a Marine.
Well, he's not a Marine, but his gimmick was.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I had to look that up several times. People were saying he was a Marine. People were saying he wasn't a Marine. One website said his name was Top Secret. I almost threw my phone. That was fucking ridiculous.
It was probably a website linked to G.I. Joe, because I know on the file cards they would say, whether their name was Top Secret or not. And so it was probably Sergeant Slaughter, and his name was Top Secret.
It was the very first one that came up.
Now, I will say Sergeant Slaughter is a special addition to the list because he was that character. I mean, that was his gimmick before he came to the WWE. That was his gimmick in the 70s, and our list was specific to 80s, 90s occupational gimmicks. But I do think that it is important for people to understand that the Marines, that is a job, and it's a job that takes Americans away from their families to protect this country, and I'm pro-military, and Marines are badass. So, Sergeant Slaughter, awesome.
Tits.
His name is Bob Remus.
See, and I read it as Robert Remus.
Well, Bob is short for Robert.
And I really hate that.
Can I refer to you as Robert E?
No.
That's borderline racist.
Yeah. Just add a Lee.
I know. But a lot of our listeners who listened in who watched WWE in the Attitude Era, probably most famously think of Sergeant Slaughter as one of Vince McMahon's stooges. He was kind of one of his right-hand men with Gerald Briscoe and Pat Patterson. Now, I think one of the funniest things I ever saw was whenever he was talking to DX and they just kept talking about how he spits whenever he talks because he's got a lisp, and they had those glasses with the little whatsoevers on them. That was cool. And a lot of people will also, whenever they think of Sergeant Slaughter, one of his biggest matches was whenever he actually transitioned to a bad guy, and he was an Iraqi sympathizer.
Ooh.
And it was him and the Iron Sheik, who went by Colonel Mustafa, and then General Adnan. I think their thinking was, Sergeant, General, Colonel. And while Sergeant Slaughter that's the lowest rank, he was the biggest star.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Well, he came back around.
All right.
And he was on G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
At ease, disease.
Yeah.
I loved him in the movie. G.I. Joe the movie?
Yes. One of the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah. Hello, maggots. It was awesome. Bob Remus is currently 71 years old.
Holy. He's almost as old as you.
I'm 37.
Okay.
How old are you going to be this week?
I'm going to go with 24. I like it.
Last week you were 18.
Agree.
But also last week you weren't drinking, so at least now you're of legal drinking age.
Oh, tits. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, huh? Yeah. You're going to get the TABC coming down on us.
I'll fight him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
There's your challenge.
There's my challenge. I'm going to fight all of TABC.
Well, interestingly enough, you've issued a challenge to law enforcement, which brings us to my number one pick. You mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
The Big Boss Man. Ray Traylor was born in Dallas, Texas. His gimmick, though, was as a Georgia prison guard.
How is he not on our Texas episode, then?
Oh, there's a lot of people that weren't on our Texas episode.
Oh, yeah, that's true, but he was really good.
Well, I would say he's not really Texas, because, yes, he was born in Texas, but most of his gimmick he identified as Georgia.
Oh, fucking traitor.
Now, a lot of these gimmicks, people, they say, well, hailing from, blah, 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 and we covered this, parts unknown, and you still don't know where I live. But,
no.
For instance, Hulk Hogan, who is from Tampa, Florida, for his entire career, he was billed as being from Venice Beach, California.
Yeah.
And later Hollywood,
it fits.
California. Just because, Venice Beach and muscles and whatever.
Oh, yeah, and he dyed his mustache black?
No, the mustache stayed blonde. It was everything else.
Oh, yeah. God.
That was so cool.
That's so gay.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna dye my stuff like that.
We'll have to sit back to back to record from now on then.
Okay. That's fine. I don't want to look at your ugly face neither. Big Boss Man. Now, he started out as Big Bubba Rogers in Mid-South. He was in Mid-South. And, he was one of those guys who, you'd call him a 300-pounder, which he was probably pushing at one time close to 4, but...
Big boy.
He was a big guy, but he could move.
Yeah.
And his matches with the One Man Gang were phenomenal. And then later, he teamed with One Man Gang, but One Man Gang's gimmick at the time in WWF was the African Dream. And he wore a dashiki and danced and did some jive talk.
Yeah, I remember him fighting...
Just think of like a giant yellow tablecloth with some blue stripes.
Gross.
And that's Akeem, the African Dream.
Okay.
I think they were the Twin Towers. Two big guys. Like, if you and I were in the ring, like, who are we fighting tonight? And then those two fuckers showed up, I would probably shit myself right in the middle of the ring.
That's gross. I wouldn't.
Yes, you would.
No.
Oh, really? Why don't you tell Brock Lesnar your real name then? Mister, my name is Beep.
Brock Lesnar doesn't deserve to know my real name.
Oh, even though you call him a Muppet Baby.
Everybody can clearly hear that is not me. I called him something way nicer.
Uh-huh. Alright, so Big Boss Man, moving on with him, he leaves, and whenever he comes back, he had like this SWAT gimmick.
Yeah.
And it was like
That was tight.
all black, and had the nightstick. Of course, he was always doing that, and had a hilarious program with Big Show.
Oh, okay.
Did you ever see it?
No.
He showed, like, Big Show's dad had passed away, and he shows up at the cemetery and drives off with the hearse with Big Show's dad still in it, and Big Show, like, jumps on the car, and
Oh, wow.
hijinks ensues. It was hilarious.
Interesting. Who's that inmate he used to fight? Big dude, orange uniform.
Nails.
That
Yeah.
dude scared me, man.
So that's one of the reasons he's on my list, because his gimmick, like, transcended to other people. So,
Yeah.
like, hey, we're going to have this guy work a program with Big Boss Man, so we're going to make him an inmate. And the storyline was that, he had wrongly put him away, which I don't know how a corrections officer is arresting people. But then he was mean to him at the prison or whatever. But then also another one that I really liked was whenever he faced the Mountie.
Oh, that was terrible.
And so it's like American law enforcement versus Canadian law enforcement.
I do remember
The
that.
thing about the Mounties is that they always get their man. But he didn't get his man that time, because Big Boss Man won. Big Boss Man went on to be in the Hall of Fame. He had already passed away whenever they inducted him. His family inducted him. But any interview or article I've read or shoot video I've watched, I have never heard anyone say anything bad about Big Boss Man.
No, I mean,
He was a gentle giant, a big teddy bear. That's how he's described. So, are there any other job gimmicks, though, that didn't make the list?
I had one more on my list.
Well, who'd you have?
The Garbage Man.
The Garbage Man.
Are you really going to Google this right now?
I am, because I remember, like, one Garbage Man, but I don't remember two.
I'm telling you, they were a tag team with trash cans.
Well, a lot of wrestlers come to the ring with trash cans, and it's filled with, like,
that's different.
brooms and bats and
We already covered the chairs thing.
the steel chairs. Hey, did you run into any old ladies at the supermarket this week?
Not this week. Everybody's kind of learned to stay out of my lane.
So, yes, I don't have two. I have one, Duke Drosy, which I do remember.
I could have sworn there was a tag team, and I was so proud of myself for remembering.
He might have tagged with somebody.
Oh, well. Garbage man. Maybe it was Oscar the Grouch. He was a garbage man.
Yeah, he was a garbage.
Speaking of Muppets. Tied that in perfect.
Yeah, you did. That reminds me, I got to show you a video later. They've showed it on other podcasts, so I don't want to rip them off.
No, okay. I don't care. I'll rip off every podcast.
You know, that being said, I do have to bring up a point, because I have to bite my tongue every time I go to Google. Conrad Thompson, his use of the phrase, throw it in your Google machine.
That's stupid.
No, it's hilarious, and it found its way into my vocabulary. Whenever people don't know what I'm talking about, or I mention something to them, and they're just, oh, I can't believe that, and I tell them, well, throw that in your Google machine.
Well, I'm glad you've never told me that.
Well.
Because that's the bottom line.
Huh. Interesting. So I was reading about Duke Drosy, and this article from 2013 says, wrestling garbage man Duke the Dumpster Drosy, now a special education teacher was recently arrested for selling drugs to an undercover officer.
Well, I'm glad he didn't make my fucking list then.
Yeah, that's just sad. That is sad.
Well,
hey, he was billed from Mount Trashmore.
That's what I called my roommate.
But at that time, 80s, 90s, it was known for everybody having this occupational gimmick, so to speak. As badass as he was, if you're going to say a clown, I'm going to say, being an undertaker is a job.
I thought about that, but I knew you would give me the side eye. I really thought you were going to give me the side eye with Brutus, the beefcake.
I can't. He's got 2 jobs. But with Undertaker, my thing was that we'd already covered him.
Yeah.
Really. And I will say that we'll try to cover different stuff. Like, I have a list that I would like, but we've talked about Sting so much.
Not really.
Well,
We talked about his fucking hair. And his hair
the
was...
2 colors?
Yeah, it was uber black.
Well, let's see. There was Tugboat. He was Tugboat.
Oh, I remember him.
He was Tugboat Captain.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Were there any construction workers? I want to say that Vince sat down with like a calendar of the village people.
Yes,
And he was like,
he filled all of them.
let's see, cop, construction worker,
Native American.
Tatanka. Yeah.
Yeah, he was tits.
I like Tatanka. But I
Was that all the village people?
no, there were others.
Wasn't there like a sailor?
I don't think so.
Yeah, there was a sailor. Cause...
Well, Tugboat, there you go. If you can hear me scribbling, I'm sorry. I was writing something down.
He sends me dirty notes during the interviews.
I show him pictures of my feet.
What?
Yeah. Rushmore.
Oh, yeah, I'm in.
You agree? Okay.
Yeah.
So, next week's Rushmore topic is going to be face paint.
Oh, I've got some good ones.
And I've got one that's going to sneak right under the radar. And it's going to be tits.
Jesus, man.
Speaking of which, I want to say that there's some ground rules. Because, I'll tell you right now, because she came to mind whenever I thought of that topic. Sensational Sherry. Because she painted different designs on her face. But it was more like makeup.
Yeah, she was gross.
Nuh-uh.
I didn't like her, dude.
I did.
Ugh.
She was Shawn Michaels' original manager whenever he went solo.
Yeah.
She sang his original theme song.
Well, she didn't know any better. Or he didn't know any better. Yeah.
He was seduced by the dark side.
We could have added Jake the Snake Roberts.
Snake Handler.
That's a job.
Skinner. He's a tour guide and gator salesman.
Wasn't he...
Gator salesman. Gator hunter. Dude.
Skinner. That was a guy's name in a cartoon movie.
Ooh, Hulk Hogan, motivational speaker.
Gross. Porn star. Oh. Slipped it in.
No, but there was a porn star. Man, our list could have... I didn't even think about it. You had Val Venus.
Yep.
He was a porn star.
Gross.
Godfather. He was a pimp.
Yeah. He was actually on my list in the very beginning.
Really?
Yeah.
Ho!
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cedar.
Hey, has your mom called this episode yet?
No. I remember to turn my phone off like a fucking professional.
Oh, okay. That's good. There was another one that just popped into my head. Oh! I know a good one.
Okay.
And I love his podcast.
Okay. I'm all ears.
Bruce Pritchard.
That sounds familiar.
Dude Love.
Oh, yeah.
Televangelist.
Hated him. Hated him.
Televangelist.
You wouldn't like him.
I love you. I can't do it like Bruce does, but hey, it's his character.
I think every episode you're going to have to mock somebody like that.
What do you mean?
Or not mock, but...
Imitate?
Yeah, imitate. Thank you. On Beer 3, people.
I would, but... Like, whenever I do my imitations, in my head, it sounds spot on, and then I hear it back, and I'm thinking, that sounds nothing. Like, whenever I did Macho Man.
No, you did Jimmy Hart.
Yeah, baby!
Yeah, that was fucking terrible. I laugh every time I hear it.
Okay, so we're gonna end the show now. Make sure to check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Hijinks Ensues. Look for the podcast on most available platforms, and always check out our YouTube channel. Make sure to leave comments, subscribe, click the like buttons, share all over social media. Get the word out there, because we really enjoy doing this show. I think that's about it.
Tits?
No, there's something else. What am I forgetting?
Is there? This is the longest I've ever had to listen to you.
That's not true. We went on a road trip one time.
Oh, God, that was a nightmare.
Oh, okay. So, a few days after this episode drops, we are going to drop the bonus episode of Hijinks Ensues with a special co-host.
Don't listen to it.
One-Eyed Jack, where we cover other Texas wrestlers not previously mentioned, and he issues a challenge of his own. So make sure to tune in and check that out and see who he challenges. As always, thank you for the love, thank you for the support. Hit us up. Hijinks Ensues Wrestling Podcast, HEWP, The Hoop, The Ring, The Squared Circle. Filmed before a live studio audience.